I knew. I was not surprised at the fact that Stacey said no to Izzy for the bullshit reasons that I'm sure that there is a whole myriad of reasons of why she legitimately said no to Izzy. The
Mhm.
fact that she said it was because of the finance, it was either her being dishonest towards him or her being dishonest towards herself, of just like, the finance is not the reason that it's not working. There are many, many reasons. And if you want to lie to him about it, then it's a shame because he won't be able to learn from it and grow.
Yeah.
But if you're honest to God, if you think that that's why and you don't realize the actual reasons why it's over, then you're not going to move forward either.
Yeah, I feel like it was just an excuse and it was just her way of getting out of it because she
Yeah.
realized that this just wasn't for her. And I just don't get why they had to go through all of those vows and talk about how much they love each other just and then she goes and says no. Like why not say it from the beginning? I feel like again that's the one of the elements of trying to create drama
Yeah.
and trying to create this whole thing around it so her no comes as a shock.
Yeah.
Ah, it's it was brewing. It was brewing throughout the whole season where she really wanted to be with him. She really wanted to like him. But I feel like he couldn't give her what she wants and what she needed. And she just needed someone who was more on her level. I'm not saying one of them is on a higher level. There's just completely different levels in two different realms,
Yeah.
different universes. They're just so different and they come from two different worlds that sometimes I feel like yes, opposites can attract and can work very well together and complement each other, but sometimes when you have two completely different lifestyles and you come from two completely different worlds, it just doesn't mesh together. And I don't think she could ever bend or make compromises to fit into his world and his way of living. And she just wanted him to make all of the compromises and bending. And she realized that he wasn't going to do that. So she was like, no, then I'm not okay with this.
Yeah, I agree. I think two worlds can definitely collide. I'm the living proof of that because my parents come from two very different worlds. And 30 years later, they're over 30 years later, they're married with three kids and they're happy together. So I think that that can work as long as both of you are willing to, work towards the other. I don't know that he was unwilling. I think that he was just still learning, and she was definitely unwilling, and he was just like, I need to grow a lot, and you need to, what I needed to happen was he needed to grow and she needed to open a door, and she was not willing to open a door, and he was not growing fast enough. um yeah, two worlds can definitely collide if you're both willing to just do the work.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of resistance there. You know how when someone tries to force you to do something that you don't want or that you're not ready for,
Yeah.
so you block off, you close up and you freeze and you're not like, and you resist because you're not ready for it. You're not there. They want you to do something that you're either not prepared for or that's just not for you. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's what was happening between both of them, where they each wanted, and her more so of him, they each wanted each other to be more ready than they were. They wanted each other to do things that they were just not them or not ready for. And so they were both closing up and clashing because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think that what you said about being not ready for something, it's the more you force something on somebody, the less they are willing to do it. For example, I hopefully she doesn't mind. I'm not going to name her, but I have a friend who feels that her partner needs therapy, um, And so she's now working on the balance of like, she's told him that she feels he needs therapy. And so now it's a balance of, she mustn't push it down his throat, because even though he agrees that he needs it, he still needs to, be on the journey towards getting to therapy himself. Whereas if he's forced into it, then it's never going to happen. And, it's finding that balance. And so I'm not worried about her. She's very good about finding the balance, but it's a delicate balance of, you want to be able to push them towards the direction that they need without making them fall over.
Yeah, or making them close
Yeah,
up
yeah,
and become defensive, because when you're sort of, because you don't want it when you're telling someone that you think they need therapy. It's you a lot of times it's someone who can't see it for themselves, don't understand it, or scared to do it or take that step. And so when you're telling someone that they need to do that, they can get very defensive because they think you're either criticizing them or you're blaming them or you're using that as a tool against them. And so you need to make sure that it's coming from a genuine place where
yeah,
you realize someone is hurting and you're acknowledging that they're hurting and that they need help and that you want to be there for them and support them and you care about them and you just want the best for them. And you're there for them every step of the way and you're going to hold their hand
yeah,
throughout,
yeah.
if possible.
Yeah, exactly. And what you said is very interesting about, why are you doing this? I think the balance is this. If you are genuinely doing it for them, then it'll be easy to just say you need to do this, but if you're not going to do it, I'm not going to do the work for you. If you feel yourself becoming a bit insistent and losing energy in this, you probably need to check yourself of, is it for them or for you that you're doing it? Because if it's for you, then you do it for yourself. You don't force yourself on anyone. And I think that's the good kind of balance. Like, check in with one of my clients is so he's he's never had a girlfriend, and so he struggles with that. And so I coached him into to finding someone, and so he's now dating someone, and this is very exciting for him. And so on his second or third date with her, he was like, what, I was saying, like, what are you going to do and things like that. And he was like, well, I was thinking of doing this, but I don't want to be too pushy and I don't want to seem needy and blah, blah. I was like, anytime you want to do something for her, think about why you want to do it. Do you want to do it? And I mean, really think about it. Are you doing it to make her happy? Or are you doing it because you want to set yourself apart? And are you doing it because you want her to brag to her friends about it? Are you doing it because you want to get that ego boost and things like that? And really think about it. If it's always genuinely you want to make her happy, then always do it. Always do that if you want to make her happy. But if it's anything else of ego boost or setting yourself apart, I feel it's okay to do that once in a while, but don't do that too often because it's not going to come off well. So it's, if you're doing something for somebody else and it's genuine, then do that all the time. If it's genuine, it's never going to be too much. But if it's something about you or like perception, then you want to keep that in check.
Yeah. I think it's funny because for a lot of people that sort of just comes naturally, where that's just part of you and you do things because it's part of your nature. Because you're not over analyzing everything or not over analyzing like what are people going to think about me doing this, or how is it going to be perceived, and how can I get brownie points. And it's sort of,
Yeah,
you just have to go with your natural instinct of just wanting to be happy and make someone happy. And sometimes when you're not used to it, or when you don't know the world of dating, or you don't know the other world of the world of the other gender, then you do need to take time to think about it and understand it. And I think with time it can become more natural, where you really sort of create this instinct in you, or create this habit of just focusing on what is natural and what is creating happiness, because that's just what it is. And what you're just trying to fabricate.
Yeah. We're
Uh,
going deep this episode.
we are going deep.
We're
We
going
are
deep.
going. That's what I love about our conversation.
Yeah.
That we can start one place and then end up somewhere far,
Completely
far away.
different. Yeah. Oh, you watched that video I sent you with the people suing Netflix.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
Oh, that brought me on something else. So they talked about producers like stating that they didn't know that they knew each other. You know on the reunion episode about Lydia and Uche and the
yeah,
fact that they cleared it up with the producers that they didn't know that they knew each other, and then when they figured it out, they were wondering if they were going to kick them out and things like that. I don't know how I feel about that, because it's easy to say. It's easy to say, oh, we
yeah.
didn't know. Um,
No, there's something going on there. I don't believe it for a minute. I feel like it was just covering their own asses.
yeah,
I feel like something very fishy over there. And I feel like no one is telling the truth. And they're just trying to cover it up now. And they know people are just going to believe it and forget about it. And that's it and move on.
yeah, because it doesn't impact us too much. I think the fact that Uche didn't come to the reunion says a lot, and I think the fact that he didn't come shows more growth than if he did come try to defend himself. I
Yeah.
I want to believe that he genuine he's not a negative person. I think he's one of these people that gets swept up in movements and so behave negatively because he gets swept up in movements, and I like to think that he saw the way that he acted and was like, oh my god, this is not a good color on me. And because he's a lawyer and an educated person, realized that coming on the show and defending himself wasn't going to do any good. He was going
Yeah.
to be edited in a way that wasn't going to do him justice. And so taking a step back and not coming, I think, is the best decision that he could have made.
I mean, they still tried to paint it in a bad way. They're like, we offered him to come, we invited him, and he chose not to come. I like the intonation in it where there's sort of I always feel like when they say that, is that they said they didn't want to come, and it's like such a negative thing that they didn't want to show up and air more dirty laundry
Yeah,
on live TV. And I'm like, no, I feel like that's the biggest the big the phrase the admirable thing to do.
yeah.
I don't know. It's like
Bigger
it's
guy.
taking the high ground, and it's going to show that if we thought that he wanted to come on to that episode or on air to start creating drama or to justify himself, this is an action that shows no, he just wanted to come on and yes, speak his truth and help his friend who he feels is in a bad relationship with a bad person. But then once he said his piece, that's it.
Yeah,
I'm not coming back on. I'm going to repeat myself. I tried, they failed, and that's it. I'm not going to continue to make a fool of myself.
yeah,
And I hope people see it that way.
yeah. They won't.
Because again, if you're coming on live TV and talking about someone who isn't there or talking about a situation in front of the whole world, then that says a lot about you. And I'm not sure it's a good thing.
No, I mean the way that Vanessa Lachey, I hope she gets paid good money for what she does because she's very good at it. When she picks up on other people kind of whispering, I was like, oh, you were saying something? Oh, I mean, I think the whole group would like to hear what you were just saying about this topic because you
Yeah.
were sniggering it. And I think she, you know, very good at what she does.
Although Chris and Johnny were talking a lot between them. I think his name is Chris. I hope his name is Chris. But they were talking between them whilst I think it was while Stacy was talking and no one said anything to them about it, but they were showing them whispering between them. And I feel like maybe that was like a deliberate thing to show disrespect to Stacy.
Yeah, but also I was watching this on YouTube there's this the Jubilee channel something where they have debates called the middle ground. And so they'll have, conservative people talking to liberal people, like flat earthers talking to non-flat earthers, and it's called the middle ground. And so you'll have these